What's shaking there, ladies and gents? There we go. Everything's live. Man, boy, all I can say, guys, is right now in the political world, big things are happening. Big things. Okay. First, I'm going to go through a couple of videos, but I just wanted to say, first of all, uh, all these years, I've always thought, like, why in the hell are people in like why are the people in the Democrats, it's a cult, everybody has seen it for what it is. It's a cult. You can't disagree, you get thrown out. And I've been wondering for years, how are people, it's fascism, like you're in a box, you can't think for yourself, you can't do anything. And I've always wondered why people weren't waking up to this. And, this awakening, this walk away movement that's happening because of Charlie Kirk, these people have felt like that for years. They've been hiding it. They've been, for peer pressure, because their friends group, for whatever reason, they've been hiding this stuff. And it's crazy that, how they, I mean, how they've been kind of keeping it to themselves and just going along to get along. And oh shit, let me change this. Oh, sorry about that. I forgot to do the name of the video. But anyway, people, they're walking away, and I've just started noticing that people are, they have wanted to leave this party for years. People have noticed something was off. Everybody has those epiphanies when something isn't right, but you don't notice it until all of a sudden it hits you. You like, you don't, you don't realize something's off because it's normal. Well, Democrats, they have felt a lot of these, the sincere ones, the ones that are going along to get along, the ones that aren't demons, the ones that aren't celebrating, those people, they're not real Democrat. I mean, this, they're seeing their chance, their lifeboat to get out of this ideology. It's like a gang, Once you, it's that's the life. You can never get out of it, like the mafia. And people that are more moderate are seeing their chance to get out of this party, and they're taking it. They are taking it. They're so tired of that party today. Oh, they were so tired of that party before Charlie Kirk got murdered. But now that they've seen it, it gives them the permission structure to say, "I'm out. These people are evil." They they don't have to they don't have to think or reason it out. They know that's evil, and they know we're not doing that. So it's a simple decision. It's right and wrong. And I know, like, if you're like me, I was starting to question whether or not America, that was a good God-fearing land of God-fearing people, good people, that genuinely want positive change, or they want to make this country better than how they received it. And now they have the opportunity to leave this crap. And a lot of these people, they inherited it from their families. Black folks, they vote blue no matter who. they were born into it, or maybe they're gay or whatever. And years ago, the more accepting, tolerant group for them was the Democrats, 15 years ago. But a lot's changed since then. And some people were a little faster, or were in a better situation where they could buck the consensus, or like Dave Rubin he got out quick. But those that weren't fortunate as that, they're taking their opportunity now. And I figured I'd show some examples. There's some pretty good ones, actually. Um, I just was looking at. How do you? Yeah, see, I really don't use TikTok, honestly.
So I got a question. Should I be responsible?
Jeez, where was it that I set? Like, cause when you favorite something, anyway.
So I got a question.
You want
Geez, sorry about this. Um, I wish I was just looking at these darn these ones that I hung on. Okay, here we go. Favorites. Here we go. Now.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna try to.
This lady was something.
Look how proud Democrats are of
This
was
is-
alive.
Big thank you to Republicans, conservatives, MAGA, independents.
I'm not buying into what they're selling, because after what we saw yesterday, I'm actually glad that they pulled that yesterday, because
honestly,
people like me got to see an evilness there, got to see a diabolical side of the Democratic Party.
I'm not gonna say, Charlie Kirk died, and this is it. Well, it's not a good thing by any means. I mean, I've been devastated about this since it happened, but silver linings are a good thing. They help us move on, and I'm sure Charlie would have been pleased that if something that bad had to happen, that was God's plan, that He was with it. And if this is giving people the permission structure they needed to get out of this cult, because people are recognizing it as the cult now, because they're talking about, I'm not drinking that. These people are drinking the Kool-Aid. And but now that they're leaving, now they're unloading the gripes. Now they're telling their story about how they don't like it. They haven't liked it for years. I mean, it's incredible.
I just came here to announce my official divorce from the Democratic Party.
The reason I am so critical of the Democratic Party right now is because I literally just left it.
I am not going to vote Democrat anymore. I did leave the left because I was getting sick and tired of their behavior.
Going forward after today and seeing how liberals and leftists and Democrats are acting towards this, I am never voting Democrat again.
I just want to say, unfriend me. Seriously, unfriend me. I don't want any Democrats or liberals following me.
The thing is most Americans are just regular folks like you and I. They have a sense of morality. They have values. A lot of them are Christian. They may not have really went to church a whole lot. I didn't as a kid, but my mother and father raised me as a Christian. Their parents raised them as they never went to church when they were kids, but that's a value structure. And seeing people cheer for the death of somebody else is one of those things where there's no on the fence. You're either with them or you're not with that, or you're not with that. And most people are not with people dying because of their political views, because that could be any of us. We all have our political views. We all disagree with each other. Is that now a permission structure for people to just start, somebody could just shoot me and say, bro, you disagreed. That was your fault. You shouldn't have disagreed. Shouldn't have disagreed, bro. Yeah, you can have free speech, but, not free from the consequences, bap, bap. And people are like, whoa. and people are getting older, they're thinking about kids, or life isn't going so well, and they're starting to put two and two together and make the connection with the Democrat Party, that their ideology, their ideas of, everything goes, you can live life any way you want, you can raise kids any way you want, you can do anything any way you want, and it's just as good as any other way of living. When that is obviously and patently false, why would anybody, why would religion be around if it didn't have a practical utility? Why? Why would people do this? This is the crux of the whole conservative point is, our ancestors built up these traditions, these institutions, these rules, the taboos. They built this stuff over thousands of years. Chances are they've tried all the different ideas people have nowadays are tried ideas. They're failed ideas. Like I remember hearing in the movie Ivanhoe, there's a Jewish guy that that helps Ivanhoe raise the ransom to get King Richard the Lionheart out of pay for his ransom after the crusade, and the Jew, his daughter is saying how unfair it is because she's falling in love with Ivanhoe and he's a Christian, and how they consider each other infidels, and how both their faiths don't permit either of them to look upon each other as somebody of the opposite sex. And Elizabeth Taylor played the daughter and is like, kind of like, why do we have to have this crappy religion that gets us thrown out of every country? We don't get to assimilate. We don't get to. And he said, look, these are our traditions and our teachings, and if they're no good, they will die away from the earth. Until that day, we must keep those traditions. Until they die away, until we die and those cultural traditions die, we must keep them up. Because, and which is prudent. Because this is the culture that brought you to this point. That's what got you here. You may not have survived if you hadn't stuck to that culture. And that's the thing with America. It's like, you kind of got to stick with the one who brought you. You got to dance with the one who brought you. And America didn't get built on diversity and LGBT. It got birthed from meritocracy, from hard work, from ingenuity, from clean living, from living right, from being, God-fearing, or God-fearing people, living right and raising their kids right, and raising their, getting married before they start having sex or having children, and saving money, I mean, it's just, we know, like, we've gone up a creek, we've gone up, a bad creek, and we're up a creek without a paddle. The thing is we're not screwed. We just have to go back where the creek forked and go the other direction, or the direction we were going before. We took a fork in the road some time back, and that fork in the road, sorry to say, was a dead end.
Since leaving the Democratic Party, I no longer have an depressed mindset. I hold
I'm still really upset about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. They're celebrating it. The left is celebrating while we mourn. He had a wife and 2 kids, guys.
And he had no vices.
He had a beautiful, beautiful family. He was just trying to make conversation. Once communication stops, then there's fighting. I left the left in 2020, and I haven't looked back. And people say that they won't accept me because of this.
It's bullshit.
You are so wrong. You couldn't be more wrong.
Right on.
I've been to the rallies. People are so fucking nice.
Yes, they are.
I've never felt so included, seen, and heard in such a large loving,
Absolutely.
caring community. If you're coming over from the left to the right, you are accepted. You are. We will love you. We will love you. Just come on over.
If you're coming in good faith and you're sincere,
I'm still really upset.
And you're sincere.
I don't have anything.
In your arguments, you sincerely believe the things that you're arguing for. There is a place for you. There is a place on this side for you. If you are sincere and you genuinely want a future for America, you genuinely want to make positive change, and you think things that are good and beautiful, wholesome and normal aren't to be despised but should be virtuous and lifted. People like Charlie should be seen as role models for our youth. Then or you don't even need to believe that. But if you're sincere about doing good, there's no reason that we can't work together. Disagree on some things, find what we agree on, and focus on that. Focus on that, like Charlie did. Focus on what we agree on, and that's where we'll work for the time being. When we run out of stuff we agree on, then we'll start talking about the stuff we disagree on and figuring out where the compromise is. But finally, we have an interlocutor that's in good faith. These people are in good faith. Oh my, I've never seen this in my life. Really, my adult life.
Add to this Charlie Kirk assassination horror story. What I do have to communicate is a sense of just like complete despair and horror and shame for my own political party. I have posted political content interspersed with my regular content for 10, 15, 20 years at this point. And I've never, not once, worried about being a target from violence on the left. I've barely worried about it on the right, but the way that left-wing terrorism is blooming and the way that people on the left are accepting it, supporting it, being callous, heartless. Anyways, what are you guys having for dinner? Oh, thoughts and prayers.
That's so
He died for what he loved.
It's evil.
It's disgusting. And to
it's...
realize that it's just so hypocritical. Oh, gun reform this, gun reform that. But if we don't like them, pew, pew. Yeah. Right-wing terrorism this, fascism that. But if we don't like them, pew, pew. Again, it's the reaction
pew, pew.
From the left being like, whatever. I have a pit in my stomach about how low we have sunk. It's horrible. As a lifelong blue voter, I don't have anything else to add.
Let me just say it now.
I am absolutely sick over what happened to my brother in Christ, Charlie Kirk.
I've been dreading making this video because I know I'm going to get hate comments, especially from the left, and nobody likes hate comments online. I used to proudly call myself a liberal. I still believe in equality, healthcare access, LGBTQ+ rights, definitely science and social programs. But I've grown really tired of the performance, the fear-mongering, and the refusal to have real conversations. I don't want to be here to scream or cancel or shame somebody into agreeing with me. I believe that we need to listen to each other even when we disagree, because change doesn't happen in an echo chamber. I'm not switching sides. I'd say I'm stepping out of the label. I'm an independent, logic-based thinker who's done letting political parties define my humanity. I'm still progressive,
that's something
but I care.
that I've really... I don't want to say I've learned, but I've come to realize about the Democrat Party and politics in general. Vote how you feel. Speak about the things that, you don't just go along to get along. You don't join a party and then, I seen this girl say that when something would happen, she'd have to get online and see what the party line was before she could jump in the octagon on Twitter. And she was like, that is just so not right. And I'm like, no, of course, if you can't just come on and say how you feel, because it'll be against the party, and you'll be like, that's insane to me. I'm a conservative and a Republican. When I get on Twitter, I let it rip. I'm like a machine gun. I'm like Machine Gun Kelly. I get in there and I mix it up. I say how I feel. I call stuff out when I think, it's necessary. Nobody can shut me up, and nobody is going to tell me what I'm feeling isn't right, or isn't, that I'm not feeling what I'm feeling. It's just not going to happen. And the people are realizing that they've been under this spell, and they're totally coming back to the table. It's like they've just awoken and found that, whoa, the people that I was, allied with before had no intention of improving America or improving the future of America. They had no intention of change, of positive change, and in fact, they were for negative change. They were demonic, and lucky for these people, there is a sound alternative. There's an excellent alternative. I went to a Trump rally in Kissimmee. I still have the videos and pictures, and it was before he had Secret Service, so I could have spit on Trump. I could have more. I mean, honestly, I could pretty much have reached out and grabbed him if I wanted to on the other side of one of those dividers in front of clubs. They're like metal divider things they set out for queues. Anyway, he didn't sign my hat, but he signed the guys that were sitting next to me in the seats next to me in the stadium. But I was that close to him, and I got, I have video of me right next to him. And I kind of cherish the fact that, I'll never get that close to a president again. And it was before he was president. I had a good feeling. I took a chance. I drove. It was like a 45-minute drive. I was there in line for 3 hours, and it was like a line that was a. I showed up with no ticket and got to see Trump when he was vigorous and duking it out in 2015. But it was like a 3-hour wait, and the line was like 10 people wide. It was kind of people just standing around loosely in a line for over a mile. And I met so many different people from so many different walks of life: black dudes, ladies, couples, gay people, old school Republicans, conservative, William F. Buckley type conservatives, blue collar guys like me. Not a whole lot of younger guys. It was a lot of early Gen X, late boomers. Although the guy that got his hat signed, his son was like 15 and he got his hat signed by Trump. But it was awesome though. Everybody I met there was just an absolute a great person. A great person. We had a great time. The people I met in line were great people. The people that I sat down next to, I had a rapport with. I mean, it was just like good vibes all around. And that's how these Republican rallies go. And it's just regular Americans. And it's just, I'm really glad to see that the left isn't as it's not as many people lost as I thought. I mean, to my mind, the Democrat Party is a really small, like the true believers of the Democrat Party is like a really small minority of the country, like maybe 20 or 30% maybe. And I think with all these people that are leaving and all the people that are not going to join going forward, they're just going to be defunct. I mean, to my mind, that's like a fact. And to my mind, that it's just gonna be defunct. It's not going to last. Now that this has happened, they're going to have a serious deficit in recruitment. They're not going to be able to get men. They could say goodbye to ever reaching men again. And I think, honestly, people that are moderate or left of center that are leaving the party, they really should consider bringing back or starting a fresh party. Starting a fresh party, a fresh left of center party. because they may have a majority. It may, if they start a good party, it may go back to the tension between the two parties and be like it was before. Sane people, talking about policy, and I just think that's something that they should be actively pursuing, because so that they can start recruit. They can get a party apparatus and a party machine together. Get people in the pipelines. People on the bench, new politicians, new political activists, all that good stuff. Get them, the young people, and just start a whole new machine. And I guarantee you, it would just be way better results.
More about the truth than tribalism. You can fight for justice without losing your critical thinking. If you want to argue, go talk to somebody else. But if you're ready to listen, then I'm all ears. Not everything needs to be red versus